Hi everyone, this is Diane from My Pink Bathtub Knits. Today we are going to learn how to knit a bacon bookmark. These are very cute and actually, honestly, very easy to knit. It is literally just a 4-row repeat, and I'm going to give you the pattern. We're not going to knit the entire thing up together, but I will talk about some key things you need to know in case you don't know certain knitting skills. And let's get started. This is great to use as a bookmark. It's a great little fun thing. You can actually make it in different sizes. You could make it as big as a scarf if you use really thick needles and really thick yarn. But for this example, it is a bookmark and this is what it looks like. What I use in it is a 3.25 millimeter needle, and the yarn I am using for this example is a 3-weight yarn. This is Red Heart Fashion Soft. The color is wine, and for the white, the same brand of yarn. The color is cream, but you can use whatever you have on hand, a creamy color and a winey reddy color, to make it look like a bookmark. These are the skills you need to know in order to be successful in this pattern. You need to know how to cast on. You need to know how to knit. You need to know how to purl. You need to know how to knit two together and how to do a yarn over, and then how to bind off. That is it. There is, as I mentioned, a 4-row repeat in this pattern. And because of the amount of stitches, we're not going to do the entire rows together, but I am going to clearly tell you what the pattern is. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to cast on 56 stitches, which is what I've done onto my 3.25 millimeter needle. 56 stitches. And because it's a 4-row repeat, the first row is going to be literally just knitting. You're going to knit the entire first row, which is the 56 stitches. So we'll do some of this, but not all of it. Grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper so that you can write this down for future reference. And I have this little camera on my chest, so if it is a little bumpy, I apologize. So you're going to knit to the end of the row, and then we will do row number 2. We have now knit our first row, which is row 1 of our 4-row repeat, and our next row, row number 2, is going to be knit 1, and then we are going to purl to the last stitch. The entire row we're going to purl, and then we are going to knit the last stitch. So knit 1, purl to the last stitch, and then knit the last stitch all the way along the 56 stitches. Still purling. And we're going to purl the second last stitch and then knit the very last stitch and turn our work. So those are the first 2 rows. The third row is the trickiest of this entire pattern because it involves knit 2 together and yarn overs. Now, if you've ever done any lace work and you've ever used yarn overs, and I will show this in detail, you will need to decrease a stitch to add a stitch, because a yarn over adds a stitch. To end up having the same stitches as you began with, you're always going to be decreasing one and then adding one. So here is the row 3 formula. We're going to knit the first stitch. And I always have to push this off the needle. Then we're going to knit 2 together 3 times in a row. So 1, 2, and 3. So basically we've just decreased 3 stitches. But now we are going to yarn over 6 times. So to yarn over, essentially you take your yarn, you put your yarn in the front of your work, and then you're going to knit like you normally would. The only difference is the yarn is at the front here. So and it's going to create an intentional hole. That's what you want it to do. So then you're just gonna knit like you normally would. See how the yarn is right here at the front. You're gonna have to wrap it around the back to knit it. You're gonna put your yarn in the front of your needle and you're going to knit your needle like you normally would. So this is 2. Then you're going to put your yarn in the front and knit. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we are going to knit 2 together 6 times. This makes the ripply part of the strip of bacon. It will start transforming before your eyes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, we are going to do our yarn over 6 times. So we're going to bring our yarn to the front and basically just knit the stitch. To consider that 1 yarn over. Bring the yarn to the front, knit the stitch. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is essentially how you're going to continue on this row until you have 7 stitches left. And at that time, you are going to do 3 knit 2 togethers and 1 knit stitch to get to the end of your row. Now we are at the end of our row where we have 7 stitches left after doing that knit 2 together, yarn over repeat of 6 each. And we're going to knit 2 together the last 3 times. And then we are going to knit the last stitch. So you should, and it's a good idea, if you're not used to doing yarn overs, to count the amount of stitches on your needle again, because you should still have 56. Because every time you did a yarn over, it increased 1 stitch to your work. But then you also decreased with the knit 2 togethers. And the final step of this four repeat pattern is just simply to knit all of the stitches. So you're going to be knitting all of your yarn overs, and as you do it, if you pull this down, you can kind of see you've got some holes here, and don't freak out if you're not used to yarn overs. This is a completely normal thing. So you're just going to literally knit this last row 4 all the way. And then when you start on your next row, you're going back to row number 1. And I'm going to type out everything in the middle of this video, and I suggest you pause it. You could write it down. You could do a print screen of it, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to let you know what the amount of rows you need to do in the 2 colors to make your bacon bookmark. And that is essentially it, my friends. It's just a 4-row repeat to make them. So you see how we're knitting here, we're starting to get holes. Now this is a stitch here, and this is just the yarn over that was placed in front of the needle that creates this. So you're still just going to knit it like a normal stitch, even though it's kind of loosey-goosey. Sorry if I've got my thumb kind of in the row. I guess that's my bad knitting habit. I'll try and put it farther down so you can see better. See how it's just sticking over like that? You're just going to go in and knit it like the same way you would a normal stitch. And that is what makes the hole. Just do a couple more and then I'll show you. And if you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we've got 6 holes there. That's exactly what you want. So my suggestion to you is not to cut the red colored yarn when you add your cream colored yarn. Just keep it attached to your work, because you are going to go back to the red color and you're just going to start knitting with that at the end. It's less weaving in, and then you can just cut it only when you know you're not going to be using the color anymore. So that's how it's looking. Let's get to the end of this row. Okay, now we've done our first 4 rows. So you're casting on. Row number 1, you knit all the stitches. Row number 2, you knit the first stitch, then you purl all the stitches until the last stitch, and then you knit. Row number 3, and I'll type this out in a little more detail, you are going to knit the first stitch, then the next 3 are going to be knit 2 together. Then you're going to repeat yarn over 6 times and knit 2 together 6 times until the end of your row, where you will have 7 stitches, and then you will have 3 knit 2 togethers and then 1 knit stitch. And then your final row 4, you are going to knit all of your stitches. So here is your formula in the colors to make this. And see, look at how wide it is and then how it shortens up because of the waves in it. So this is where you would start. So you're going to repeat this first 4 rows a second time using your wine colored yarn. Then you are going to add your cream colored yarn and do 4 rows. Now do not cut the wine color, just keep it on the end, because after you do your 4 rows in cream, you're going to go back and do 4 rows in the wine color again. And then you're going to, again, you're not going to cut this part, the cream, and you're going to add your cream after your 4 wine rows. And then you are going to finish with 4 rows of cream, and then you're going to cast off. And this is what it's going to look like once you do that. That's the back of it. It's super cute. So I hope you've enjoyed this 4-row repeat. I'm going to put the formula again at the end so you can do a screenshot, or I would appreciate it if you watch this video all the way through at least once and share it, like it, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I am doing some mitten tutorials. I've done a fox one already. Give me some feedback what you think of this. These are great little fun bookmarks that you can use. So until next time, my friends, stay well and bye for now.